Imagine if you could become so strong and resilient that nothing could break you. Imagine if you could face any challenge and overcome it. This is the power of Stoicism. In this video, I will reveal the 7 bad habits that are making you weak and show you how to overcome them using the principles of Stoicism. By the end of this video, you will be well on your way to becoming the habit of dwelling on the past. Dwelling on the past is a recipe for unhappiness. It keeps you stuck in the past and prevents you from moving on with your life. It also wastes your time and energy. The Stoics teach us to focus on the present moment and on what we can control. We cannot change the past, but we can control how we react to it. Here are some tips for overcoming the habit of dwelling on the past. Acknowledge your thoughts and feelings. Don't try to suppress your thoughts and feelings about the past. This will only make them worse. Instead, acknowledge your thoughts and feelings and allow them to pass through you. Challenge your negative thoughts. Ask yourself if your negative thoughts about the past are true. If they are not true, challenge them. The habit of worrying about the future. Worrying about the future is another bad habit that can make you weak. It causes anxiety and stress, and it prevents you from enjoying the present moment. The Stoics teach us to accept that the future is uncertain and cannot be controlled. We can only control our thoughts, emotions, and actions in the present moment. Here are some tips for overcoming the habit of worrying about the future. Identify your triggers. What are the things that typically trigger your worries? Once you know your triggers, you can start to develop strategies for avoiding them or managing them more effectively. Challenge your negative thoughts. Ask yourself if your worries about the future are realistic. Are you worrying about things that are actually likely to happen? The habit of comparing yourself to others. Comparing yourself to others is a recipe for unhappiness. Everyone is on their own unique journey, with their own unique strengths and weaknesses. When you compare yourself to others, you are only focusing on their strengths and your weaknesses. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy, envy, and resentment. The Stoics believed that it is important to focus on your own journey and to not compare yourself to others. Everyone is different, and there is no one right way to live. The important thing is to be the best version of yourself, not to be the best version of someone else. Here are some tips for overcoming the habit of comparing yourself to others. Identify your triggers. What are the things that typically make you start comparing yourself to others? Once you know your triggers, you can start to develop strategies for avoiding them or managing them. The habit of being afraid of failure. Everyone fails at some point in their lives. Failure is a natural part of the learning process. However, many people are afraid of failure. This can prevent them from taking risks and pursuing their goals. The Stoics believed that it is important to not be afraid of failure. Failure is an opportunity to learn and grow. When we fail, we learn what doesn't work and we can adjust our approach accordingly. Here are some tips for overcoming the fear of failure. Change your mindset. View failure as an opportunity to learn and grow rather than as a negative experience. Challenge your negative thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking that you can't do something or that you're going to fail, challenge your thoughts. Ask yourself if your thoughts are realistic and helpful. Focus on the process, not the outcome. When you're working towards a goal, focus on the process of achieving that goal rather than on the outcome. This will help you to stay focused and to enjoy the journey. Celebrate your failures. When you fail, take the time to reflect on what happened and what you can learn from it. Then, celebrate your failure for what it is, an opportunity to grow. By overcoming the habits of comparing yourself to others and being afraid of failure, you can become a stronger and more resilient person. You will be more likely to take risks, pursue your goals, and achieve your dreams. The habit of seeking approval from others. Seeking approval from others is another common human tendency. It can be tempting to want to be liked and accepted by everyone. However, this can be a dangerous habit because it can lead us to compromise our values and to live our lives inauthentically. The Stoics believe that it is important to be true to ourselves and to live in accordance with our own values, regardless of what others think. We should not seek the approval of others because this will only make us dependent on their opinions. Here are some tips for overcoming the habit of seeking approval from others. Identify your triggers. What are the things that typically make you start seeking approval from others? Once you know your triggers, you can start to develop strategies for avoiding them or managing them in a healthy way. Challenge your negative thoughts. When you catch yourself seeking approval from others, ask yourself if your thoughts are realistic and helpful. Are you seeking approval from people who are not important to you? Are you compromising your values in order to please others? If so, challenge your thoughts and replace them with more realistic and constructive ones. Focus on your own values. Remind yourself of your own values and what is important to you. The habit of being materialistic. Materialism is the belief that material possessions can bring happiness and fulfillment. However, research has shown that materialism is actually associated with lower levels of happiness and well-being. The Stoics believe that it is important to focus on developing our inner qualities, such as courage, wisdom, and temperance, rather than on accumulating material possessions. They believe that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from external factors. Here are some tips for overcoming materialism. Identify your values. What is important to you in life? What do you want to achieve? Once you know your values, you can start to make choices that are aligned with your values rather than with material possessions. Declutter your life. Get rid of excess possessions that you don't need or use. This will help you to focus on what is truly important to you. Practice gratitude. Take the time to appreciate the things that you have, both material and non-material. This will help you to focus on the positive aspects of your life and to reduce your attachment to material possessions. Spend your time wisely. Spend your time on activities that you enjoy and that make you feel good about yourself. Don't waste your time on things that don't matter to you. By overcoming the habits of seeking approval from others and being materialistic, you can become a stronger and more resilient person. You will be less dependent on external factors for your happiness and fulfillment. Additional tips. Cultivate a sense of purpose. Having a sense of purpose in life can help you to focus on what is truly important and to reduce your attachment to material possessions. Find something that you are passionate about and that you believe in. Build strong relationships. Strong relationships with loved ones can provide you with love, support, and companionship. These things are more important than material possessions. Live in the present moment. The present moment is all that we have. When we focus on the present moment, we are less likely to dwell on the past or worry about the future. We are also less likely to be attached to material possessions. Habit of being impulsive. Impulsivity is the tendency to act without thinking. It can lead to making bad decisions, taking unnecessary risks, and hurting ourselves and others. The Stoics believed that it is important to be thoughtful and deliberate in our actions. We should not act impulsively, but rather take the time to consider the consequences of our actions before we act. Here are some tips for overcoming impulsivity. Identify your triggers. What are the things that typically make you act impulsively? Once you know your triggers, you can start to develop strategies for avoiding them or managing them in a healthy way. Challenge your negative thoughts. When you catch yourself feeling impulsive, ask yourself if your thoughts are realistic and helpful. Are you acting without thinking because you are stressed, anxious, or angry? Are you making a decision that you will regret later? If so, challenge your thoughts and replace them with more realistic and constructive ones. Take a step back. Before you act impulsively, take a step back and give yourself some time to think. This will help you to calm down and to make a more rational decision. Visualize the consequences. Before you act, take some time to visualize the potential consequences of your actions. This will help you to make a more informed decision. Develop a plan. If you find yourself struggling to make decisions without acting impulsively, develop a plan for yourself. For example, you could make a rule that you will not make any important decisions until you have slept on them. Here is an example of how you can use Stoicism to overcome impulsivity. Imagine that you are in a store and you see a shirt that you really want. You start to feel impulsive and you want to buy the shirt immediately. However, you remember that you are on a budget and that you don't really need a new shirt. You take a step back and give yourself some time to think. You visualize the consequences of buying the shirt. You realize that if you buy the shirt, you will have less money to spend on other things that you need. You also realize that you may regret buying the shirt later. You decide to make a rational decision and not buy the shirt. You are proud of yourself for overcoming your impulsivity. By overcoming impulsivity, you can become a stronger and more resilient person. You will be less likely to make bad decisions and to hurt yourself and others. Here are some additional tips for overcoming impulsivity. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. When you are mindful, you are more aware of your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations. This awareness can help you to identify and manage your impulsive urges. Get enough sleep. When you are well rested, you are better able to think clearly and to make rational decisions. Exercise regularly. Exercise is a great way to reduce stress and anxiety. When you are less stressed and anxious, you are less likely to act impulsively. Seek professional help. If you are struggling to overcome impulsivity on your own, consider seeking professional help. A therapist can teach you additional coping skills and help you to develop a personalized plan for overcoming your challenges. Watch the next video. Link in the description below. Subscribe for more profound insights on your spiritual journey. May your path be filled with grace and enlightenment.